94 Miles Wrestling. Worst injuries I've seen, take 3. Some call these men the greatest entertainers on earth, flying without wings, defying physical limitations. But the risks these men take are great. Bodies have been battered, necks broken, careers ended in an instant. Yes, this is entertainment, but the hazards are real. No matter who you are, whatever you do, please don't try this at home. When I used to see that as a child, I used to get scared as fuck, because trying it at home was an understatement. I was a fucking WWE superstar in my home. I had the belt. I was wrestling a Barney doll all the time. You couldn't keep me from whooping his ass. Also, up until that point, I had never really seen no real injuries, or at least I thought. But as I grew older, I realized that I had seen so many. So today, I'm going to talk to you about the worst injuries that I have ever seen. The first one I'm going to talk about is probably the first one that I ever seen, but I didn't really realize that it was an injury. When Eddie Guerrero first came into the WWE, he was a part of a 4-man group called the Radicals. It was him, Dean Malenko, Perry Saturn, and Chris Benoit. We knew they were going to be a problem when they got there because they would interfere in every single match. There was a match with, I can't remember who this match was, but Eddie Guerrero interfered and he hit a frog splash. And he didn't really come off the top rope the way that he wanted to. Maybe he was a little nervous. First night in a big company like WWE. The very next time he was on TV, he hit Hardcore Holly with a frog splash and dislocated his elbow on impact. You can still go ahead and watch it right now. After this video, you can look it up on YouTube or you can go to Peacock. They're both still there. And I knew the injury was real because the next week, Eddie was wearing a sling. That's number one. Next injury is one that everybody has already seen. You've seen this 100 million times, but I'm still going to talk about it because that's still one of the worst things that I've ever seen. But I've seen this injury 100 times. It was Eminem, Joey Mercury, and Johnny Nitro. Joey Mercury and Johnny Nitro. Jesus Christ. It was a ladder match of some sort. I don't know if it was like TLC or some bullshit. There was a spot where they were fighting in a corner. Jeff, Matt, Joey Mercury, and Johnny were fighting in a corner. And somebody jumps on the ladder and it smacks somebody in the face. Smacks Jeff in the face, but Jeff's fine. Smacks Johnny in the face, he's fine. Joey wasn't alright. Joey got fucked up pretty bad. He got his nose broken, he was bleeding, and the blood was rushing all over the place. He was calling people out from the back. I don't even think he knew what was going on in that moment because he was just so out of it. Go watch it. Just after this, go look at it. You're gonna be like, oh my god. But if you're watching this, you probably seen it already. So that's my number. But again, this is no list. It's just the second one I'm talking about today. Next one I'm gonna talk about is the very first Elimination Chamber match. I can't remember everybody who competed in it, but I do know that it was RVD, Triple H, and Booker T. A camera crew was following around the people who were competing in the match. There's a shot where Booker T is talking to Triple H and he's like, "Some bad gonna happen. I can feel it." And Triple H is trying to ignore him and, you know, just be like, damn, they really building this thing right here, right now, huh? But what ended up happening was there was a spot where RVD was supposed to get on top of the pod and frog splash Triple H. He did it, but he came down on Triple H's neck with his knee and crushed his larynx. So Triple H had a crushed throat, which hindered him from breathing, but he still finished the match. Fucking psychopath. That had to be one of the worst injuries that I had ever seen in my entire life. Next up was another injury we've seen 100 times. This was on a March 2022 episode of SmackDown. 2 months prior to this, Big E was WWE champion. And in March, he gets dumped on his head by Ridge Holland. I don't even know if Ridge Holland is still in WWE, especially after that. I don't know. I haven't heard his name in a while, but I could just be wrong because I haven't really watched SmackDown and Raw in a good minute. But it's my own personal reasons. We'll get back into that later. It hurts me to talk about, but watching Big E get dropped on his neck like that was one of the worst things to experience, or worst things to see, because I really like Big E and he was one person I was really cheering for. You see him get dropped on his neck and his body like locks up trying to like fight the pain, but he knew he wasn't going to be able to fight it, and they hauled him out on a fucking stretcher, bro. And then we get an update saying that he might never wrestle again. That was one of the worst injuries ever. To make it even worse, a fan posted a video from actually being at that episode of SmackDown, and from their angle you can literally see nothing but his head hit the ground first. That was pretty gruesome to watch. I'm not gonna lie. No blood or anything like that, but it's something you just don't want to see, right? I was going to talk about a couple more. Actually, I will talk about a couple more. The next one I'm going to talk about is Kurt Angle at No Way Out 2003. At No Way Out 2003, there was supposed to be a 3-on-3 match between Team Angle, which consisted of Kurt Angle, Shelton Benjamin, and Charlie Haas. Then it was Brock Lesnar, Chris Benoit, and Edge. Edge got sent to the hospital because he got jumped earlier that night, so it ended up being a 2-on-3 match. There's a spot in the match where Brock Lesnar has Kurt Angle on his back, and to counter him, he hits him on the turnbuckle, or drops him on the turnbuckle. When Kurt Angle hit that turnbuckle, his neck broke and he snapped 3 vertebrae out of place. Mind you, this was a month before he was defending the WWE Undisputed Championship against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 19. So do you think he wouldn't have surgery after No Way Out? No. He waited until after WrestleMania, dropped the belt to Brock, and then went and got his surgery. Tough. All right, this is the last one I'm gonna talk about, and I don't care if you think this is an injury or not, because people say that he did it to himself. I don't give a damn. I feel like JBL has something to do with it. But this one is from Judgment Day 2004. Eddie Guerrero is on this list yet again. So Eddie Guerrero and JBL had a fight for the WWE Championship, and I want to say it was an I Quit match, but I'm not exactly sure. Maybe from all the gore and the blood, I thought it was. So I'm gonna keep it short and simple because I want you to go watch the match. There's a spot where Eddie and JBL are outside the ring over near the announce table. JBL picks up a chair and smacks Eddie Guerrero so hard with this chair. It was the loudest crash I had ever heard. Eddie Guerrero hits the ground, or hits the chair or whatever, and he begins to nick himself. Give himself a blade so he can, draw some blood. But it was the worst blade job that anybody has ever seen, because it started spurting blood from the top of his head. By the end of the match, the white mat was pretty much completely red. Everybody in the audience was obviously disgusted. People at home were disgusted. Eddie Guerrero wins the match, goes to the back, doesn't realize what's going on because he went into shock and he needed a blood transfusion. I saw this live. I was 9 years old. That had to be one of the worst injuries that I had ever seen. Well, that's everything for me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please be sure to subscribe. If you want to like it, that's your business, not mine. I don't know what it does for me, honestly. I really don't. But if you subscribe, I really appreciate that. And I'm looking to have more videos coming your way as soon as possible, so be on the lookout. We're trying to do this every Thursday, so if everything goes right, you'll be seeing us every single Thursday for the next, I don't know how long, but you'll be seeing us. All right, and that's it for me. Take us out. Oh wait, that was not a good one. Take us out. Yeah.